guys, it's Presley. So today I'm going to make a video that I've been talking about making for like a month now. Sorry. And this is my mindfulness video. This is just something that has helped me and I wanted to pass along and kind of give you a backstory and sorry, there's a hair hanging. And just see if in any way I can spread some help in the way that it has helped me. And so what I'm going to do is kind of start at the beginning to today. So going back about, give or take, a year and a half, I was living in Texas. Me and my boyfriend were living in California. We had a miscarriage. We decided we wanted to start fresh. We moved out to Texas with my dad's side of the family. Loved Texas. It was amazing out there. Had another miscarriage out there. And then he got a job opportunity in North Dakota. And we were like, okay, let's go. We had a couple friends out there. So we were like, okay, whatever. Let's try it. And so we go out to North Dakota. And about a month into it, barely, we find out we're pregnant. And then a month later, give or take, we find out it's twins. Surprise. And so we're like, oh, okay. It skipped 4 generations. Last set of twins in my family was my great-grandma's twin brothers. So it had been a minute. I didn't even know twins was possible for me, but here we go. And so we decided then to move back to California to be around family and just to, get back on our feet. We weren't doing so well financially and stuff. And we're like, okay, let's move home, get our act together, get everything set up, and we'll have family around to help us because we'll be new parents with 2 babies instead of 1. And so we moved back, and we moved back at the beginning of February, and then boom, March, coronavirus, everything's shut. And so we're like, okay, well, there goes getting financially back in shape. So we ended up, it was probably the lowest point of my life thus far. I just turned 28 2 days ago. And for me, that was probably the lowest I've ever gotten. I had to move back in with my grandmother. My car got repossessed. I had no job. My credit score dropped like 100 points. I was pregnant in the middle of a pandemic. Couldn't get a job because I was on bed rest because I was high risk, having 2 previous miscarriages, and then on top of it, having twins. And so I just felt kind of frustrated and stuck. Like there was nothing I could do to change my current situation. And then with the pandemic, and California was completely shut down. And so then my boyfriend was having a hard time finding a job. So we were and then unemployment wouldn't approve him because we had lived in another state. And if you live in another state, you got to do the application over the phone. And you try and call the phone, and it's like, oh, no one's working right now because of the pandemic, check your application online, and it hangs up. And so we just it was like wall after wall after wall, and we just felt so stuck and so frustrated. And I remember I was at home one day and had one of my good friends over, and we were just, being girls, scrolling through Instagram, and she is a huge Vampire Diaries lover. And so we were just Instagram stalking people, and she's like, oh, look at, Nina Dobrev, look what she's doing now, and look, oh, her and Paul Wesley are still friends, and, we're just being girls, going through stuff. And, sorry, my dog is looking in the background. And so we get to Stephen McQueen's page, and he had just posted about his mom or I don't know if he had just posted or it was one of his last posts. I don't know how long ago it was. I don't even remember if it was recent or not. But so we opened the post about it. It was his mom and her vlog journeys about traveling and stuff like that, which for me is something I've always wanted to do, but I've never really had the finances to do. I've always wanted to travel and see other countries and experience other cultures, eat other cultures' food. I'm a big foodie. So I was really interested in that. And so I started to look up her website and watch a couple of her cool vlogs and videos and stuff. And so that was that. And I was like, oh, she's cool. And I loved, her name is Stacia. Stacia, shout out to you. This video is almost dedicated to you because this one little Instagram click changed my life. So fast forward for me when I had my twins. Now, mind you, up until this point, I have always been very blessed to be extremely strong-minded. I have always kind of been the one everyone turns to when they're having a rough time. I was always the, one everyone leaned on. I was always reliable to be the DD, and, I was always the mom of the group. Always been the least dramatic of everyone in my family. I grew up in a family with a lot of drug abuse, a lot of alcoholic stepdads, and I kind of internalized and always just kind of saw everyone around me as, what not to do. And so in that aspect, I always kind of learned to just rely on myself. I knew that I had to make myself happy. I knew that I had to be the person who got myself out of the rough. And I've always been very blessed to never have to deal with any kind of depression or anything like that. I've always known I've been very lucky in that aspect, that I was always just kind of able to push through and get over it. Well, fast forward to when I had my twins, and that changed real quick. I had my first dose of ever dealing with any kind of mental anything. With my hormones from my twins, I developed really bad postpartum depression. More than I let on to anyone around me. I was in love with my babies and felt so blessed that I got back the two that I lost. And it almost felt like fate. But that first couple months when everything's balancing and you're adjusting to new motherhood, and you got two screaming babies instead of one's hard enough, and one of my babies had reflux, so he was throwing up every time he ate, and it was just awful. And the lack of sleep, and you're just adjusting to everything on top of all your hormones going crazy. I was trying to breastfeed, but I didn't produce enough for both babies. I produced enough for one, but not for both. And so they were still hungry, and then we had to start supplementing, and then you got that mom guilt, like, oh, I'm terrible, why can't I stick one on each boob and just go? But it just wasn't working out, and so I was super guilt about that, because it's kind of shoved down your throat the entire pregnancy, like, breast is best. So I started to develop this really bad postpartum depression where, like, it was more, as always with me, it's all internal. I beat myself up constantly about everything. If I mess up at something, if I don't catch on to something as quickly as I feel like I should, if, like when I was going through all this financial stuff, I was just beating myself up. Like, if I had only done this, if I had done that, I shouldn't have got this fancy car, not knowing that if I was going to have a good job forever to pay the bill, and just, life lessons. But I'm very hard on myself, always have been. And a lot of that stems from my childhood and just not wanting to go down the same path as a lot of my family members who, God bless, most of them have turned their lives around now. But growing up, I was just like, I don't want to do that. Just no. So I'm at this point where I'm internalizing and beating myself up completely. Like, I felt like maybe there's a reason I had these 2 miscarriages. Maybe that was God saying, no, you're not supposed to be a mother. This isn't meant for you. You're too selfish. You can't do this. You can't handle both of these. maybe this was a mistake, maybe I should have waited. Then I started having issues in my relationship because new parenthood was rough on both of us, and the lack of sleep. My children's father is definitely a sleeper. He enjoys his sleep, so that was a rough one for him. And it was just a lot of adjusting. And so instead of blaming anyone else, I just blamed myself. I felt like my kids deserved a better mother. Maybe there was these, my miscarriages were a sign that this wasn't meant to be for me. Maybe I should have just kept trying to get my life together, and I should have waited. Maybe you should have waited. And just a lot of internal stuff. So I started to seek out a way to get myself out of this, because I was just like, I missed the old Presley. I'm very happy-go-lucky. I'm very peppy. I bring a good energy everywhere I go. I have my bad days like anyone else, but I tend to be very upbeat and outgoing, especially once I get to know you. And so I wanted that back. I missed me. I didn't feel like myself. And so I remembered those videos of Stacia that I had watched months and months before. And she had mentioned, her meditation and her mindfulness. And I'd kind of blown it off at the time because, meditation sometimes can have kind of a stigma, the hippies. And, so I kind of like, back in the day. But now I was like, you know what? I love her energy. I love how she's always smiling. She seems, I started following her on Instagram, and she seems like such a happy, upbeat. Sorry, my fan's on and it keeps blowing like the little baby hairs into my face, and it's driving me insane. So, I just love Stacia's energy and who she is as a person, and the aura that just comes off of her. Her relationship with her husband, her family is just everything I envy and want in life. And so I was just like, you know what, like I'm going to look into this. And, meant to be a couple months later, after having my twins, I think they were like maybe 2 months old, she had posted a free mindfulness Zoom thing that she was going to do for free for everyone. And she had like a sign up list, and so I messaged her real quick and gave a little bit of my backstory and signed up. And I got to go to this class, and it was I want to say 6? It was like a 6 or 8 hour class. It was really long, but it was amazing. She went into kind of her backstory, and we went through some meditations, and she kind of taught us about starting your day with the good attitudes and letting the bullshit roll off, and just little stuff like that. Stuff that just, though it seemed so small, radiated within me so much. The little stuff that I was beating myself up for. My finances and, my being unable to create enough breast milk, fed is best. My children have done amazing on formula, and they are completely healthy, back up to the weight they're supposed to be, because they had lost a lot of weight when I wasn't producing enough. And so me internalizing, it just helped me so much in a way that's hard to describe. It helped me because mindfulness for me is creating or stopping those kind of brain pathways for me where I start going into the blaming myself. It's creating that almost block for me where I start telling myself I'm terrible with a way to describe this, but me telling myself positive instead of negative. It's a way of me almost training my brain to go towards that positive thought instead of letting myself get sucked into my internal hating myself. And so it was after that seminar that I just started to get really motivated. I started to get motivated with my weight loss again. I started to get motivated on doing my podcast, just enjoying motherhood more. And definitely as the boys got a little bit older, it definitely got easier and better. And I was just able to enjoy it more. The postpartum started to ease, and I started to finally, enjoy what I've been wanting to enjoy, which is being a mother to these two beautiful, healthy boys that I created. And God bless, they're super healthy and amazing and beautiful. But this little journey helped me in ways that it's hard to describe, but something so small as just thinking positive thoughts when you first wake up, what you're grateful for, looking at little details, the sunset, how the tree sways, the sound of the air, just little things, focusing on the little beautiful things instead of always worrying about the big picture. And that helped me so much. So after that day, I started to really look into it more and look up meditation apps and mindfulness books. And I came across one really good one that I set down here. Give me a second. So this one was really good. It was by Shonda Morales, and it's called Breathe Mama Breathe. And this one gives really cool, just quick mindfulness things for the busy mom, which obviously with two little minions running around, they're almost 8 months old and 2 seconds away from crawling. They're like scooting backwards. They just haven't figured out how to go forwards yet, but that will be happening any day now. So, following two little rugrats around. The 5-minute mindfulness for busy moms is so far amazing, and I'm looking into buying more books, and because I love reading. And for me, it's been little stuff like waking up. Like the boys wake up right about 7 a.m. every morning, and so what I'll do is I'll wake up around 6 or 6:30, make myself some coffee or tea, and do my morning mindfulness, which for me is about a 5 or 10 minute meditation of just breathing. And then I'll read like a chapter of my book, and then while I'm sipping my tea, I'll do some positive thoughts and mantras. I'm not sure how you properly say that, but and what I've gotten the most out of it, on top of me not being so hard on myself all the time, is also I've learned how to not jump and react to stuff. Like just recently I had some issues with a coworker, and I was able to kind of look inside myself, and instead of reacting and calling her names or telling her off or whatever, I put her into my morning mantra and just kind of wished her the best. Whatever is going on at home, whatever issues she's having that she's portraying onto me, I hope they get solved. I hope she gets happiness and well-being and health, and I wish her all the best. What I've learned the most out of this for me is just not only internal happiness, but portraying an aura of happiness, bringing positive energy and positive thoughts, and how much one small compliment or happy, waking up in a good mood, how much that can spread, as much as waking up in a bad mood, how easily that spreads. Well, the same is for the opposite. If I wake up cheery and how you doing and clean the kitchen, and everyone else wakes up and sees me dancing around doing my thing, it spreads. And the internal part of that too, when I feel myself getting that overwhelmed, like the boys are both crying, they're both hungry, they're rushing me, and I'm trying to wash bottles and do laundry and pick up the toys and feed the dog and figure out what's for dinner and try and make myself look semi-decent so I can make my YouTube video. So in those moments, the mindfulness for me really kicks in. I'll stop for a second, take a breather, internalize, and just, you're doing great. You are a great mom. You love your babies. And everything's going to be okay. This is just a moment. Just breathe. You're a great mom. And little stuff like that, I cannot describe, even though it is so small, how much it has helped, and how much of, I feel like myself again. I feel like the happy-go-lucky, let's do this, I'm motivated, let's go. I just feel so much happiness and so much more like myself, and I just want to spread it like wildfire. And it's just such a great thing. My dog licking in the background is driving me nuts. Do you mind? He's a pug. So yeah, I've been wanting to make this video just to tell people out there, like, especially moms, it's okay to feel overwhelmed. It's okay to feel like you're not doing a good job. It happens to all of us. And whatever way you look into solving that is all you. But I wanted to just share this way that has helped me, and give a huge shout out to Stacia for being such an amazing human being. Because this for me has just been such an eye-opening thing for something that's so small, and what a big difference a positive outlook and a positive attitude can bring. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys and tell you all how much I appreciate you, and thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, my Instagram at It's Presley Christine. I'll be trying to be better on this YouTube and make a video about once a week, typically released every Saturday. And I'm going to be throwing out vlogs. I'm going to be throwing out little videos like this, cooking stuff like I did the other day. Mom hacks, stuff I do with my kids. I'm going to throw it all at you. And whatever you like, you like. And if you don't, that's on you. But I just wanted to wish you guys many blessings, and thank you so much for watching. And everyone have a blessed night. Happy thoughts.